Okay, this is going to be a video about putting RG500 forks together. And starting from the very bottom, the very first thing that is of interest is this washer. It's a copper washer, seals oil in the bottom of the fork tube, so it's important that it actually seals. It's copper, it's soft, it's reusable. You can go buy a new one if you want to. They sell them at the Suzuki dealer. But another thing to do is you can save resources and have some fun playing with flame by heating this thing up in a propane torch until it gets nice red color, and then just set it down on something to cool off, and then it'll be what they call annealed. It'll be all nice and soft, and it'll seal and hold all the oil in well again. I made a whole nother video about annealing copper washers in this RG500 rebuild series, so you can take a look at that if you want to. The next thing of interest is this thing that goes in the bottom of the fork tube. Are these three little washers. Okay, now there's two of them are wave washers and one of them is flat. It's important to get the flat washer in the middle, two wave washers on the outside, and it's kind of fiddly to put that together. So an easy way to do it is to take your fork tube after you put on brand new bushings. You're going to get this thing all the way apart. Put on new bushings. Only a couple of bucks. Put in new bushings, and then you take the damper rod, which is this thing here, and slide it in. This is the other fork tube, so it's sticking out a little bit. You can see those washers with the wavy ones on the outside, the flat one in the middle. And when it's sticking out a little bit, it makes it easier to hold everything all in place, because putting those washers in the bottom of the fork tube by themselves is fiddly. And then you just slide it in. And now you've got the main damper rod sticking out the bottom a little bit. Then you pick the whole thing up and drop it in the fork lower, right? And then you take the nicely annealed washer, put it on your hex bolt here, and then you've got a 8mm long Allen wrench to put it in and take it out with. You need a long one because it has to reach down into the fork legs a little bit. You can see the marks on this tool here from when I took it apart. It all kind of wobbled around a little bit, hit the bottom here and marked it. So you need a long one. I made a special trip to the hardware store just to get that long one. And then you put it in, put the fork tube in a little lower, put the washer on, the bolt goes in there. And then you get to have fun of holding the damper rod in place while you tighten it up. Now, the damper rod has this thing here. This is drilled for the emulators. So these are emulators. So the damper rods are drilled. If you got a stock Gamma, it won't have these great big holes in it. But it will have this feature at the top, which is things you designed so you can take it apart. You get a 24mm, couple of 24mm nuts, and a 24mm bolt. I think this is a M10. And then I only got one hand, but you can see this will fit right in there. And now you've got a holder tool. You take your 24mm socket, and I don't have a long enough half-inch extension. I got a short extension, and I got a 1/2 to 3/8 converter, and I got a 3/8 socket. That gets out far enough to go the whole length of the fork tube, so I can hold it all in place and tighten up that bolt in the bottom of the fork tube. Now you can, when you were taking the fork apart, you could have done this whole thing, put this down in through the top to hold it in place, and then put your rattle gun in the bottom and loosen up this bolt and take it apart. So that's it. Now once you've got all the fork tube assembled in the bottom here with the damper rod in it that you all held in place, then the next thing to do is to put the fork seals on, because you want to get this thing ready to be all together. So you take the fork seal itself has got a spring on one side. That's the side that goes towards the oil. All seals that have got springs on them, you put the spring towards the lubricant you're holding in place. So you just slide the fork seal over the top. And then when it'll slide down easily at the beginning, and then where it gets to be fun is when you want to get the fork seal into the top of the lower here. It goes in a little bit, and then it gets really tough. So what you do, they sell you these really nice, expensive round tools that go thump, 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 which are great if you're a mechanic working in a shop and you're trying to beat flat rate. You got to get it done in a couple minutes. But if you're working at home, you got lots of time. You can just take a normal little flat punch, and this seal's got a flat side on it. So you can just go tap, 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 tap. And around the sides here, it's going to be in here. Only got one hand, remember. That's what you're looking at. And then you got the fork tube in the middle here. And then you just take your punch and a little plastic headed mallet so you don't hit it really hard. And you just tap, tap, and you can get the fork seal in. This also works on very expensive, very troublesome, really large, modern, upside-down forks. And so then, I forgot to tell you, before you put this thing in, put some Racetech Ultra Slick Seal Grease around on the inside of this thing, so it'll be all slippery, because, as an old racer said to me one day, when it's very, very slippery, it's very, very good. And we want it to be slippery and good. Okay, and then you're also going to put a little bit of the seal grease on the inside of the dust seal too, because having a slippery dust seal is also a good thing. Okay, then boom, 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 boom. And then now you've got that all together. The next fun thing to do is you're going to put this whole assembly all. I've got emulators, remember now. If you have a stock fork, this whole bit from here to here is all going to just be the spring. And I've got emulators that comes with the bottom and spring. Here's the actual emulator. Here's the main spring. So you put the spring in, and then the little hat-shaped piece, and then the spacer, and then the flat piece, and that little flat piece, and then the fork tube top part. And that's going to be a lot of fun because you got to push really hard on it because you're compressing the spring and everything. So just get a socket. I think a 19 does it. A deep 19 goes around that. And push really hard down on it. Once you got it back in the triple clamps, use a bike to hold it in place. And just put it, and you can get it back together again. And that is assembling. Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you. For fork oil, use some. I got emulators, so I use 20 weight. If you got stock forks, I think you use 10 weight. Either way, use synthetic fork oil. Always use synthetic oil whenever you got it. Synthetic is always better. It just works better. Makes your parts last longer, and it's more slippery. And as we all know, more slippery is more better. Because it's really good when it's really slippery. So here's some Lucas products. Lucas oil I'm using. I always use Lucas products because anything from Lucas is extra good. It's a really good company. Okay, so there's RG500 forks assembly tips.